Pitamakhyam Tatandi Swapatandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagada Raghunatha Nitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishada Ginamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanja Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swaminade Namin Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya, Hema Vadivyacha Visundaraya, Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya, Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna, everyone. So today we'll continue with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime that he accepts sannyas. So I think today and then two more days we'll get 12th and 13th. And then we are done with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. 18th is Gaura Purnima. Okay, so after all that pastimes of preaching the Sankirtan movement, and we heard about Chant Kasi yesterday and delivering Jagai Madai, and all those pastimes were going on, Mahaprabhu didn't feel complete. Like his mission was not complete because there was a lot of Mayavadi sectors. So many were Mayavadis believing that there's no form for the Lord. So Prabhupada mentions that in the history, if you take, there are so many Mayavadis who became devotees, but never a devotee became a Mayavadi. Because devotee have reached the highest stage of understanding the Bhagavan concept. So from Bhagavan concept, how can someone go to a impersonal form or the Brahman aspect? No, they don't fall down because they have reached the highest stage. They have got the Param Drishtva Nivartande, the highest stage, and they have realized the Bhagavan concept. So might be the devotee might fall down, like in the sense, some might be in Krishna consciousness for some years and suddenly they might leave. We have seen so many times, but that's not a big thing because staying in Krishna consciousness is a big thing. Oh, how long you've been in Krishna consciousness? Someone asked, like for 4 years, 5 years, you've been chanting and you've been in Krishna consciousness. That's a wonderful thing. I mean, that's great because Maya is so strong, and anytime anybody can fall down. So that's why we should constantly pray to Krishna that please don't let me forget you. I should always remember you. No, that's what, because we don't know. We might think we will be successful, but then unless we have the mercy of, that's why devotee association is very important. Otherwise, it's so dry to do devotional service. You feel like enough. Every day I'm chanting the same mantra. Enough. One day I'll skip. But then what keeps you motivated is the devotee association. Now it's a boost. It's like putting petrol in the car while running. So first you have started the car and it's moving. There was a push by some merciful devotees, but now the car has to go. You have to drive yourself. So you need to put fuel into the car. Otherwise the car is going to get stuck somewhere. So the fuel of our devotional service is devotee association. So if you have association, then there's no risk of falling down. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's next aim was to convert these Mayavadis into devotees. So he was thinking, what can I do? Because his mission is to preach, no? So he was thinking, let me take up sannyas from a Mayavadi sannyasi so that the Mayavadis also can come to me. Because they'll think, oh, he's a Mayavadi sannyasi. And when they approach him, he can start talking about Krishna consciousness. So accepting sannyas. One quality about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he is so beautiful. He's so long in the sense he's so tall, and his hands are like, normally when we keep our hands, it's like somewhere just below our waist or something. But his hands used to reach up to his knee. So long limbs and so tall, beautiful silky hair, like curly hair he used to have. You can see in the picture, a nice hair. So when you take sannyas, what happens? You need to get it shaved. So everyone was like, Mahaprabhu had so beautiful curly hair. Now he's going to get it shaved. Okay. And then there's a hair cutting pastime that happened, that the barber or someone who's going to cut the hair, who came, he saw this beautiful hair and he's like, how can I shave this hair? And so Mahaprabhu's like, you have to do your duty. This is a duty. You have to do it. The moment he touched the hair, in the sense, he's Krishna. So the moment the barber touched the hair of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fell in ecstasy. He got the love of Godhead, but just by touching Mahaprabhu. And then he was crying and crying, and he was shaving the hairs, and then he became a great devotee. But then everyone around him, Advaita Acharya and all of them, are like, why are you taking sannyas? You have a young wife, Vishnupriya, and your mother is old, and your father is not there. Elder brother took sannyas. You are the only dependent of them. And he's like, no, this is my mission. I have to do it. So Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and then he could travel all over the India to preach. So initially everyone was sad about it, especially Sachi Mata. Mothers, very sad, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas at the age of 24 from Keshav Bharati. So Keshav Bharati was the his sannyas guru, and then he's a Mayavadi sannyasi, and he took sannyas. Then first time he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but then Nityananda Prabhu somehow deviated him, because Sachi Mata told to Mahaprabhu, don't go to Vrindavan, stay at least in Jagannath Puri, because Mayapur and Jagannath Puri is little. Those days people used to walk from Jagannath Puri to Mayapur. Navadi, once in 6 months or something, they walk and go. It's like a parikrama. But in Vrindavan, it's so far, so please don't go there. At least when you stay in Jagannath Puri, I can get news about you. So 24 years Mahaprabhu did his grihastha pastimes and childhood pastimes, all that. And at the age of 24, he took sannyas. For next 24 years, he did the sannyas leela. So total 48 years, Mahaprabhu exhibited his transcendental pastimes. So later on, when Nityananda Prabhu deviated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's way, instead of going right to Vrindavan, he made him go left. And then he reached Shantipur, where he saw Advaita Acharya. And he went and took prasad from his house. And Sachi Mata was invited. It seems if some person takes sannyas, he can't see his wife anymore, but then he can meet his mother. So that's not an offense. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to like this palak, that shak, what you say, and he likes all the dishes made of palak. So his mother cooked a feast, and then Mahaprabhu had his Jagannath. Jagannath have Chappan Bhog, right? And then Sachi Mata didn't get love of Godhead. So Mahaprabhu could not give love of Godhead to Sachi Mata. Everyone else were in ecstasy when Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Everyone got love of Godhead, Krishna Prem, except Sachi Mata. So everyone is like, you are not giving Krishna Prem to your own mother. I mean, you are such a merciful person. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayade. You give love of Godhead to everyone. Even dogs, when they see Mahaprabhu, they start Hari Hari. And when Mahaprabhu went to the Jharkhand forest, he says, Dule Dule Gaurachand Hari Gunagai. I mean, he induced everyone, all the animals, to chant. So Prabhupada comments here, we can't make animals chant. At least can we make some human beings chant? So we can preach to human beings. But Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he gave Krishna Prem to everyone except Sachi Mata. His mother didn't get Krishna Prem. She was always crying, weeping. My husband passed away. My elder son took sannyas. My younger son also took sannyas. And I have one daughter-in-law. Now what will I do? So she was always thinking in material platform. She's Sachima. She's not from this world. She's transcendental. I mean, she's the associate of the Lord, but still she was doing the pastime. So Advaita Acharya and everyone is like, please give love of Godhead to Sachi Mata, so that she'll be all right. No, she can be in ecstasy. And Mahaprabhu said, I can't give love of Godhead to Sachi Mata because she did Vaishnava aparadh. She did an offense to a lotus feet of a Vaishnava. And then everyone is like, Sachi Mata offended a Vaishnava? Who is that? And that was Advaita Acharya. So what happened? Advaita Acharya used to speak Bhagavatam, and his elder brother Vishwarupi from when young age, he used to go and listen to Bhagavatam from Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya kept on talking about Bhagavatam, that Vishwarup felt like taking sannyas, but that's not the real reason. But Vishwarup was already decided to take sannyas, and then now again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. So Sachimata thought it was Advaita Acharya who made both of them sannyasi, or who compelled both of them. So she used to offend him by words unknowingly. She didn't do it purposely, but she used to say, because of Advaita Acharya, both my sons took sannyas, and she used to offend by words. So that was an offense to Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya is like, I didn't take any offense. Please give her Krishna Prem. And Mahaprabhu's like, no, if we do Vaishnava aparadh, we think that we have hurt some Vaishnava, we should ask forgiveness. We should ask sorry for that to them. I mean, that's the thing recommended in the Shastra, that unless that person who you offended forgives you, and after you asking sorry, if that person doesn't forgive you, then it's an aparadh on that person. Like, you ask forgiveness. I'm sorry for hurting your feelings, and I'm really sorry. So you feel that, and you say sorry to that Vaishnava. And if that Vaishnava says okay, I mean, if they take it, I mean, they take your sorry, that's fine. Everything gets over there. But if that Vaishnava doesn't accept your sorry, then the aparadh is on their part, not yours, because your part is clear. You have asked for forgiveness. So Mahaprabhu said she should ask forgiveness from Advaita Acharya. And another thing, for great devotees, pure devotees, if we offend, we're supposed to take the dust from their lotus feet. So Sachimata should take dust from Advaita Acharya's lotus feet. Hearing this, Advaita Acharya fell down unconscious. What? Sachimata taking dust from my feet? And Sachimata was overhearing the whole conversation. And when Advaita Acharya fainted, Sachimata ran and came, and she thought this is the best moment to take dust. She took some dust from his lotus feet and speared on her head, and she also fell unconscious because she got love of Godhead. She was in ecstasy. From that day, she never cried. She was always in devotion, in trance of devotional service. So here our Guru Maharaj comments that if the Vaishnava doesn't forgive you, and if you can't take the dust, then steal the dust. because Vaishnav Pada Duli, Vaishnav Pada Gel, and Vaishnav Bhukta Avashesha, Tino Mahabal. So that means the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, the Abhishek which is done, the water from the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, and the remnants of Mahaprasad from Vaishnava, they are so glorious. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a sannyasi, he had a danda. You can see a stick. Okay, a stick was there. So this stick was broken by Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu told, why do you need a stick? Stick is for the normal sannyasis. When the sannyasi reach a Paramahamsa stage, they don't use a danda anymore. So the Mayavadis were Eka Danda Sannyasi, like one stick, and Vaishnava Sannyasis had 3 sticks. That means their mind, body, and words are dedicated to Krishna. So where Nityananda Prabhu was stealing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's danda, and he fell on it. Knowingly, he fell on it and broke the danda. He told Mahaprabhu need not have a danda. And then Mahaprabhu started traveling all over South India. It seems he visited Kerala, he visited Udupi, so many other parts. And in Kerala, the Guruvayur temple, near that, there is the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still there. I mean, preserved. And in the sense, they have made a monument, and Guru Maharaj inaugurated that. And so many places he visited, started giving Krishna Prem all over. And he was in ecstasy. Whenever he sees Ganges river, he used to fall into that, thinking that that's Yamuna. Oh, this is my Yamuna, because he's in the bhav of Radharani. He's in separation from Vrindavan. He always feels that ecstasy, and people has to go running behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take him in a boat, or take him. Some people had to catch him in a net and bring him back, because he just in ecstasy falls into Ganges, thinking that that's Yamuna. And then later on, he showed the 600 form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I'm just telling in short, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a Mayavadi sannyasi, and he used to give the commentaries on Vedanta Sutra for 7 days. So Vedanta Sutras are short terms which have long explanations. And the Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. The first Vedanta Sutra is Adhado Brahma Jitnasa. Like it's the duty of a soul to inquire about the self or the soul. So the human beings have to inquire about soul. So that's one of the Vedanta Sutra. Sarvama Bhattacharya gave a big class on the explanation on Vedanta Sutra for 7 days. And Mahaprabhu kept on listening, just listening. You know, when you become great devotees, you become more humble. And he was so humble and listening. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is like, you don't have any doubts, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the sense you heard my commentaries for 7 days and you don't even have one doubt. So Mahaprabhu was like, I understood the Vedanta Sutra, but I didn't understand the commentaries which you gave, because he was talking on a Mayavadi aspect of the commentaries. It was an impersonal aspect of the commentaries. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, if someone doesn't have a doubt after a class, either they understood everything or they didn't understand anything. So then Mahaprabhu started explaining his own bhashya or his own commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra without touching the Mayavadi concept. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is like, you're not a normal person. Tell me who you are. I mean, you are not a normal Mayavadi sannyasi. I don't think so. And then Mahaprabhu exhibited or showed, displayed his 6-handed form. Here you can see the 2 hands with bow and arrow indicates Lord Ram from Treta Yuga. 2 hands with a flute, a blue hand, that's Krishna from Dwapara Yuga. And the 2 hands with danda and kamandalu, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga. So this proves, no, he's Krishna or he's Ram, he's Krishna the Avatari himself. So that was the form, the Shadbhuja form showed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Okay, so today is the appearance of Poondanam. I don't know whether you heard about him. He's a pure devotee of Krishna from Kerala. So you would have heard about the Guruvayur temple. So he is from there, and he have written a beautiful poetry called Jnanapana. It's in simple Malayalam language, not Sanskrit. He's not a big scholar, but he wrote it from his heart. And he used to go to the Guruvayur temple and he used to sing this beautiful bhajan. And the Lord just loved it. When Poondanam reads Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord just comes and hear it. So once Poondanam was reciting Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then what happened? There was a small mistake he did. Not mistake, he just told that Krishna broke the butter pot with a stone. With a stone. And then some great Brahmanas were there and they're like, no, Krishna didn't break with a stone. Krishna broke with his flute. And then there was a voice coming from inside the temple saying that I broke the pot with the flute sometimes and with the stone sometimes. So Poondanam is right, because he was a pure devotee. And once Poondanam was explaining about Rukmini's letter, no, there's a instance where Rukmini was about to get married to Shishupal, and then she didn't want that marriage to happen, so she had to give a letter to in a Brahmana's hand to Krishna. And so he was telling that Rukmini gave a letter. And some Brahmanas told, no, Rukmini didn't give a letter. Rukmini gave the sandesh or the message to the Brahmana, not a letter. And again, the Lord said from inside, no, I gave a letter. And that letter was read to me by the Brahmana. So Lord always likes his pure devotees. And this is that temple, near the Guruvayur temple. You'll have a tree like this. And there's a Poondanam statue there, because he always used to worship Lord from that place, and he's a pure devotee. And Krishna likes to hear Jnanapana read. So in Guruvayur temple, even if some of you in South India visited, 3 o'clock morning, early morning, when the Lord is woken up, like when the Abhishek happens, the song of Poondanam is kept loudly in the whole temple so that everyone relishes it. And it's actually said it's a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, because the simple language he compiled, it goes like that we don't know what happened yesterday. We're not going to know what is going to happen tomorrow. And this body is temporary. It can get perished anytime. So this is the summary. And he says about transmigration, like you become an insect today, tomorrow you become a cat, next life. So you got a human form, start chanting the Lord's name. The Poondanam's poem starts like this: by the mercy of Guru, you get the holy name in your tongue. Please keep chanting. Then only your human form of life will become successful. So it's very nice poetry. combined, and Krishna loves it. Krishna's like, great Brahmanas did not accept Pundanam's literature because it's a simple language. They want big Sanskrit words. And then the Lord appeared and said, I like it because it's written by devotion. So Pundanam was so immersed in devotion that, and his maid servant also used to help him in a devotional service. But his wife didn't like all this. Wife thought he's crazy. So one day, the Lord came in his Pushpaka Viman from Vaikunta to take Pundanam just like that back home, back to Godhead. And only the maid servant could see Pundanam going with the Lord, and the wife could not see. The maid servant fainted. I mean, she left her body then and there. She also went back, and Pundanam was taken by Lord back to Vaikunta. He's a great devotee. That's his appearance day today. So I thought I'll share it. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So anyone visited Guruvayur temple anytime? Might be Murli Prabhu came.
Yes, quite a few times. My daughters, both the daughters, food ceremonies and other marriages. My nephew's marriage was also there.
Yes, it's a nice temple. Oh, so Pradima Mataji went. Even Netravati Mataji went. Good. Got darshan.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay. It's so busy, no?
And they put that butter ball Mataji Udar on the god. If you are having anger and all that, Benne they call in their language, and they put that butter ball there, on the god.
Yes. And you get nice kheer or sweet rice there. I mean, they're so famous.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So many of you went. Prabhakar Prabhu also went. Okay. Good. That's. I mean, you should. Ganesh and Prabhu went. It's good to visit such temples because it's not just a normal temple. Actually, that deity was worshipped by one of the wives of Krishna. So so many pastimes have happened in that temple, and it proves Krishna is there. Like Udupi temple is famous by Madhvacharya. So similarly, Guru and Vayudev. Guru and Vayudev established the deity. So it's called Guru Vayur, and it's all the time. It's so much of rush. And so many nice pastimes have happened, and Pundanam is one of the great devotees of Krishna. Okay, so I think over to you for presentation. We can start. Who's sharing the screen? All are made co-host, right, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay.
Chinnasamy Prabhuji.
All are here. Fine. Yeah.
Netravati is sharing today.
Okay.
Hare Krishna to all devotees. Today, Bhakti Vichar 2 team is going to present chapter 16. There are 4 questions. First questions will be presented by Kaushik and Prabhuji. And second question by Netravati Mataji. Third one by Penaja Mataji. And the fourth one by Gitika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. My question: select 3 divine qualities listed in 16.1 to 3 and discuss the importance of developing them for a practitioner of Krishna consciousness. Discuss how cultivating these qualities affects one's capacity for spreading Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. According to the Vedic scriptures, it is very important to develop the qualities as mentioned in 16.1 to 3, which are considered auspicious for progress in the path of liberation. And such activities are called Daiva Prakriti, transcendental by nature. And now we will see 3 divine qualities: fearlessness, purification of one's existence, and cultivation of knowledge mentioned in the verses. Hare Krishna. Fearlessness. For a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness, because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he thinks, after leaving my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhood, as Paramatma, is always within, and he is seeing everything, and he always knows what one intends to do. One must have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone. One should think, even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. This conviction is called Abhayam, fearlessness. Hare Krishna. Purification of one's existence. Then he has to purify his existence. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature and go back home, that is back to Godhead, for him, looking towards material possession and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking towards them with such a propensity is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desire. These are the process of purification. Hare Krishna. Cultivation of one's existence. Cultivation of one's spiritual knowledge. Then he has to purify the next divine quality is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti, being engaged in cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life of spiritual advancement. Out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging food, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. It is the duty of a sannyasi to preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if he is not so advanced in doing so, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if he has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. Hare Krishna. Conclusion. The three divine qualities mentioned herein are transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world. Hence, a sannyasi or one in the renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, purity, and knowledge. Finally, my understanding, without developing these divine qualities and practicing it as per the scriptures and under the instruction and guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is not possible for an individual to progress in Krishna consciousness. Hence, following it strictly not only makes one to effectively understand and progress in the path of Krishna consciousness, but also to spread it. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Question number 2. Select divine qualities listed in verse 1 to 3, and discuss challenges you face in developing them. How has your study of this section of Bhagavad Gita practically helped you to overcome these challenges? Give reference to Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, verses and purports in your references. Chapter 16 details about the divine and the demonic natures. In verse 1 to 3, Krishna mentions the transcendental qualities, which are 26 in number, belonging to the godly man, just like Prabhupada, who endowed on it with divine nature. Krishna lists 26 qualities that elevate us on the banyan tree. The banyan tree, which was referred in chapter 15, saying the upper portion to be the auspicious, the divinic nature, while the lower portion to be a demonic one. So now when we start practicing this will ultimately lead us to liberation. These qualities develop from mode of goodness, and this is not a birthright. We have to cultivate them by according to the different statuses and the social and occupational order. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhyaham Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Tamsa Yajnischa Swadhyaya Staparjavam Ahimsa Satyama Krodha Styaga Shanti Rapaishunam Daya Bhuteshva Lolupvam Mardavam Harirachapa Achapalam. Tejakshama dhriti saucham adroha natimanita bhavanti sampada daivim abhitatasya bharata. These are the 26 qualities which has been listed with the translations. And as the question demands me to answer or to select few divine qualities and discuss on the challenges, I would first like to admit that all qualities are challenging for me, and most of us by default will be having few qualities in us. By mercy of Krishna and the Guru Parampara, I'm able to cultivate few in the recent times. With continuous devotional service towards Krishna and by His grace, I hope to cultivate all 26 qualities in the near future, maybe in this life or the next or upcoming ones. I try to classify all these 26 divine qualities according to my challenging, more challenging, and the most. Challenging are the ones where simplicity, modesty, cleanliness, compassion for all living beings, gentleness, determination, forgiveness, fearlessness, truthfulness. Renunciation, speaking on it, like, am I completely renouncing? I used to first think that I'm just saying Krishna Arpanamastu, only that much is done. But the purpose says we have to work every time and dedicate everything to Krishna consciousness. Am I doing that? That was again challenging. More challenging ones are those study of Vedas, sacrifice, austerity, freedom from the passion of honor, charity, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. Studying of Vedas says to hear and learn, but in science, being a science graduate of applied sciences, we have been trained to look for proofs, how to accept that. Sacrifice, assuming that it was like time consuming and it was expensive, and how can I do that? And so on, like freedom from passion for honor. Every simple acts we do, we expect some honor or appreciation. Take it for the presentation of PV, level 2 presentations, level 3 presentation. We will be like, okay, Mataji may like, we are doing our best. Maybe this could be appreciated. There is some passion for honor every time. How should we give up that? Followed by the most challenging ones and like struggling ones, actually the freedom for anger, freedom from envy, tranquility, and so on the list. Now, yeah, using Krishna consciousness, being with the association, reading Bhagavad Gita, that slowly helping me. Gradually, I'm trying to improvise on myself. And this is all possible because of Lord Krishna's connection and serving for Krishna's happiness. First, renunciation. Being a science teacher, I was like thinking National Science Day is happening and how can I connect Krishna? I'm not even able to use the word Krishna in the presentations. After 2 days, few students come and approach like, Mom, we want to speak about soul. And I was like, thanking Krishna, thank you so much for this opportunity. Taken a chance with at a presentation on science of soul and reincarnation with certain limitations again. And freedom from anger. Every time I get anger or some other problems, we have the opportunity to discuss with BB groups. They are like a family. They guide us why you should be anger or not anger. For the purpose, we discuss on that. Again, that is helping us to improvise. Next, sacrifice. Sacrifice doesn't mean that we have to expensively maintain everything. Shri Chaitanya Prabhuji has given us the Yajna Sankirtana. We can keep chanting, and by the association of devotees live from 5 a.m. or 5:10 sometimes, we start doing the Yajna Sankirtana, slowly increasing the rounds also. And Vedic study, AL3, that is advanced level 3, and BV presentations, online discussions, and few self-studies are helping us to understand the concept and analyze. How should I accept? Because even science, they ask for proof, but we should remember a person who cannot show the brain doesn't mean that he doesn't have a brain. We should always listen from the higher authorities, the Guru Paramparas, and accept the truth and progress for the higher states. Freedom from passion for honor. Everything belongs to Krishna, the fact we are aware of now. And what am I hoping for? If I use certain flowers to decorate Krishna and certain cloths to decorate Krishna, it doesn't mean that I have decorated it. Krishna has given me the chance to decorate. So is any kind of information, whatever work we are doing, it is completely in mercy of Krishna. We are not owning anything. Then why should we take any pride of it? Austerity started slowly, joining the morning Mangalarti at 4:30. It was like, will I be able to do? But now we are able to join at 4:30 a.m. and very, very fortunate to attend Mangalartis every day. And cleanliness. Cleanliness not only means about the mind and the body, but in the dealings. So how should I even treat the person who is mistreating me or someone else? We should accept that Paramatma is in every person and we are speaking or conversing with that. That particular time will not be even thinking any kind of misdealings with other person. So these are all my learnings and we are trying to overcome by association of all gurus. And this is my realization in Krishna consciousness. And for my progress in these qualities, I'll submit my humble obeisance thanks to Krishna, Parampara, ISKCON Mangaluru, Ashiksha Gurus, Namanishta Prabhuji, teachers, and all other devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Identify examples of a demonic nature from current and local and global issues. Give the reference to 16.4 to 18 verses and purports in your response. Hare Krishna.
Daivabhuta Sargalokesmin, Vaubhuta Sargalokesmin, Daiva Asura Evacha, Daivo Vistarasha Prokta, Asuram Partha Meshrunu. Lord explains in 16.6, O son of Partha, in this world there are two kinds of living beings. One is divine and other one is demonic. Among the conditioned soul, the demonic nature is devoid of faith, knowledge, and wisdom of scriptures. And those who under its way are confused what is right and what wrong action is. Thus, neither purity nor truth nor right conduct is found in them. A typical example of this in the present age is strong belief in Western philosophy. Having involved in these types of thoughts like Age of Renaissance, humanism, and communism, these developments labeled this era as post-modernism. The prevalent view of a postmodernist thought is that there is no absolute truth. Hare Krishna. Asatyam apratishtam te jagat ahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kim anyat kamaitukam. The demonic concludes that the world is phantasmagoria. There is no cause and effect, no controller, and no purpose. Everything is unreal. They say cosmic manifestation arises due to a chance of material action and reaction. They do not think world is created by God. They deny the existence of a supreme soul, spirit soul. They do not believe in the words of Krishna. Madhyakshena prakrit suyate sacharam acharam. Lord says, under my direction, the whole world is moving. Hence, they are unable to differentiate matter and the spirits because they lost themselves. Hare Krishna. Lord explains demonic mentality further. Advancement of a human civilization results in that people grow more and more cruel, violent and crueler, cruel to animals, cruel to other human beings. Animal killing is the most prominent in this age of Kali. They do not have an idea how to behave towards one another. In 16.10 and 11th verse, Lord explains demonic mentality. Satisfying their senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Bound by 100,000s of desire and absorbed in the lust and anger. They accept non-permanent things like they create their own god, they create their own hymns and chant accordingly. It is because it is also called avidya purvakam. As a result, they attract to two things. One is sex enjoyment and another one is accumulation of a material wealth. Unlimited desires leads to securing money by means of illegal way. It does not believe in the God concept of a life after a death, so he do not bother for committing any type of sinful activity. So he indulge in black market for the sense gratification. Hare Krishna. Today's world, many people perform so-called charity, religious sacrifice, social work, who actually make show of their wealth. The charity in tamasic mindset is condemned in Bhagavad Gita. Enmity that arises due to a greediness, proud in possession of a material wealth. He believes in his own strength, no concept of law of karma. This leads to arrogancy and develops enmity between family, between society. Example, and between nations. Example, nuclear bomb. Invention of a nuclear weapons of which the whole world is today very proud. At any moment, war may take place. Atomic weapons may create a havoc. We can witness a present war that arises between Ukraine and Russia, where one country claiming its proprietorship of a land and a population over another nation. As Mataji gave example yesterday, and now itself Netravati Mataji said, everything belongs to Krishna. That is the good understanding of a human. So the demonic mentality, due to a godlessness, such a weapons are invented in a human society. They are not meant for the peace and prosperity of the world. Likewise, he develops demonic preaching in his surrounding. Example, Ravana, who also builds a staircase for a heavenly planet, where he assumed everyone or anyone can reach the heavenly planet easily. The false ego, pride, lust, and anger creates a bewilderment. Misuse is freedom, and which make demonic person to hate Supreme God, who situates in his own heart. Hare Krishna.
Question number 4. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of the mode of goodness, one remains in the ignorance and passion, which are the cause of the dynamic life. Discuss a statement in relation to the practice of Krishna's consciousness with reference to Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 verses and purports. Maya is always giving us trouble. Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of the threefold miseries. This material energy is constituted for the three modes of material nature. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the causes of the dynamic life. Those in the modes of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy man, and deride proper understanding of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of the scriptures. One shall know Krishna. One shall understand what is the duty and what is not the duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna's consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Chanting of Mahamantra is the right approach. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Eat the remnants of the foodstuff offered to the deity. One should, who is directly engaged in all these devotional service activities, is to be understood as having studied all the Vedic literature. He has come to the conclusion perfectly. 4 defects in Kanda's soul. Of course, for the ordinary person who are not in Krishna's consciousness or who are not engaged in the devotional service, what is to be done and what is not to be done must be decided by the injunctions of the Vedas. One should act accordingly, without argument. That is called following the principles of the Shastras or scriptures. Shastra is without the 4 principal defects that are visible in the Kanda's soul. Imperfect senses, the propensity for cheating, certainty of committing mistakes, and certainty of being illusioned. One should follow principles of Shastras. These 4 principal defects in Kanda's life, disqualifying one from putting forth rules and regulations. Therefore, the rules and regulations as described in the Shastras, being above these defects, are accepted without alliteration by all the great saints, acharyas, and great souls. In India, there are many parties of the spiritual understanding, generally classified as 2, the impersonalist and the personalist. Both, however, led their life according to the principle of Vedas without following the principles of the scripture one cannot elevate himself to the perfectional stage. One who understands the purport of the Shastras is considered fortunate. Need to raise to the mode of goodness. In human society, aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all the fall downs. That is the greatest offense of human life. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of threefold miseries. This material energy is constituted of the three modes of material nature. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path of understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the cause of this dynamic life. Those in the mode of passion and ignorance deride the scripture, deride the holy man, and deride the proper understanding of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of the scriptures. Bonafide spiritual master can guide. In spite of hearing the glories of the devotional service, they are not attracted. Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. These are some of the defects of the human society, which led to the dynamic status of the life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Our obeisances to Sri Radha Govinda and thanks to Guru Parampara. Our respectful Dandvat pranams to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Govinda, Namnista Prabhuji, Prem Kishori Mataji, Shwarya Mataji. Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay, so I think short and sweet presentation. Prabhu, how long they took? Murli Prabhu. And they had less questions also, na? But
yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, 4 questions this time.
Yeah, so it's okay, like short chapter. But anyway, only one chapter, no, today?
Yes,
yes, okay. Yes, 4 questions in that chapter. I'm saying they did it brilliantly. Kaushik and Prabhuji stuck to exactly 4 minutes. And Netravati and others 7, 6, and 5 minutes. It's all done. Well.
Half an hour might be
less than half an hour. 21
less than half an hour. Okay. Anyway, good. So they covered everything, and I really like to mention about Shastra Chakshus. Yes. So we have different types of eyes. Now, and who knows what are the different types of eyes? I mean, I don't mean material eyes. I mean, in the transcendental thing, what are the different types of eyes we have? Shastra Chakshus is one. With what eyes did Arjuna see the universal form? Say. Yes, Netra Mataji.
Divine eyes, Mataji.
Very good. So that's divine eyes. Then, yes, Prakash Prabhu.
Charma Chakshu or skin eye.
Yes, very good. Charma Chakshu and then Prema Chakshu. Yes, very good. So these are the different levels. Okay, first is Charma Chakshu. Charma Chakshu means this skin eyes, like whatever we see, the material eyes. With that, we can't see a Lord, we can't appreciate the Dham, we can't appreciate nothing. No, just like the materialistic karmis, whatever we have, this we all had that Charma Chakshus. Next is the divine eyes, which Krishna gave but actually Arjuna was in Prema Chakshu stage. Prema Chakshus is above that. So first the lowermost is Charma Chakshu, then is the divine Chakshu, where you start appreciating the Lord. I mean, but then that's a devotee. But above that is Prema Chakshu in pure devotional service, where the two-handed form of Shyamsundar form has been mentioned. And then yes, Shastra Chakshus, where you start seeing through the Shastras. I mean, you don't whimsically say things, but then always when we preach, when we do something, when someone questions you, why are you chanting Hare Krishna? Why are you following the 4 regulatory principle? You should always answer in 3 terms. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So we do anything, or Krishna consciousness is based on a science which have these three aspects: Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. First, Shastra proves that in Kali Santarna Upanishad, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is given and it is prescribed in Kali Yuga, and the four regulatory principle is mentioned in all the Puranas, Shastras, that we have to do it to raise to the mode of goodness. So the Shastra, we follow the Shastra. Then Guru, whatever our Guru says, might be Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, like we have our Gurus. So when Guru say, we take it. And Sadhus, Sadhus means great devotees, like Vaishnavas, great devotees, seniors. When they say, share their realization, we take it from them. So based on these three things, we go forward. And one more thing I liked is about the sannyas life. You were telling about if a sannyasi has to break the four regulative principles, having some extra relationship or anything, then it's better to commit suicide, and that's the mention. But then we know the Vedas doesn't allow, the Shastra doesn't support suicide. So how do you see this relation? Like, what does that mean? So is it like, it doesn't mean that that suicide is promoted. It said that being a human form of life, and you've taken sannyas order, that means you're supposed to stay in that order of life. Anyone remember any pastime from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela of a devotee who, no one remember? Someone heard about Chota Haridas? Bada Haridas or Haridas Thakur is different. Reddy Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna. Here, Chota Haridas looks at one woman in a lusty manner.
Yes.
When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this, he has asked him not to come into his congregations anymore. Yes. But he was taking his darshan from far away. And after, although senior devotees asked him to pardon, but he said, you can be with him rather than be with me. That's what my understanding. And then finally he commits suicide. And then also, actually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not pardon. I think he mentioned that now he is liberated or something.
Yeah, because the Chota Haridas, yes, he was in the form in an ashram, that sannyas ashram. Okay, then yes, brahmachari and sannyas, he was in sannyas ashram. So when he went to do madhukari for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because sannyasis, they do madhukari and they live. That madhukari means madhu is the honeybee. The honeybee doesn't take honey only from one flower. It goes to different flowers and take little honey. So madhukari, you see in Vrindavan, if you go, you see most of the Babaji sannyasis, they have a kamandalu, and they beg from door to door. Might be one chapati, whatever they get from the Rajavasis or whatever we give, that's their food or prasad for that day. So they don't save and keep, they don't cook, they are always in bhajan. So sannyasis were like that, supposed to live like that. So Chota Haridas went to beg some rice from Mataji, and just seeing her, she was so beautiful, he became lusty. And when that that food which was taken from Rajogun was taken, that consciousness comes when you cook also, no? So the consciousness of the cook goes into the food. So when it was offered to Mahaprabhu, he could feel that lusty thing, and he was so angry because then why did he take sannyas? He could have remained as a grihastha. No, if you're a grihastha, be a grihastha, and but if you're a sannyasi, be a sannyasi. So Mahaprabhu was so angry that he didn't give darshan, as Prabhu said, yes, and finally he had to commit suicide, Chota Haridas. But yes, after committing suicide, actually the ghost form actually used to come and visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day, night. So he used to ask for forgiveness, and at that time actually Mahaprabhu later on forgave, but he got moksha also. And it's just showing by pastime. It's not that Lord is compelling something like that or making very strict, but Mahaprabhu is showing us that if you are in a ashram, follow the rules and regulations of that ashram. And it's just for the pastime purpose, to show us by example that Mahaprabhu was very strict in the rules and regulations. So that is one thing. And here it is said, like, rather than falling down, it's better to do that, because after getting a human form of life, there are so many sannyasis who came back, they fell down. But why did you take sannyas after all? No, unless you're so determined, then you go for it. And at the same time, when Chota Haridas did this, another associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was the grihastha, I forgot the name, he was going to become a father. His wife was pregnant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was jumping in air because he's a grihastha and they're going to welcome a Vaishnava or Vaishnavi at home. And it's allowed in a grihastha life to have children. So in that way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said a family is growing. So two different things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows us. For example, even Prabhupada was very strict. When he gave sannyas to someone, he sees that they don't fall down. And but many of the many other sannyasis from other sectors have fell down. But that is actually not good. And so unless we are determined, then no one can stay brahmachari. If you want to be brahmachari, not get married and then live the life, okay, good. If you're prepared for that and Krishna wills, let that happen. But then stay in that ashram. But if you have these inside some feeling to get married, then better get married, be a grihastha, marry a devotee girl, or marry a girl who can be who's religious and pious, and both of them can grow in Krishna consciousness in a grihastha life. So grihastha ashram is also an ashram. It's not wrong. We all, nobody, all of us can't become brahmacharis or sannyasis. So grihasthas are there. It is called 95% are grihasthas. They're happily living in Krishna consciousness. Krishna is in their center. No, they cook bhog, offer prasads together, and they honor prasads together. They worship the deities together. They chant together, read Shastras together. It's nice to have a good Krishna conscious life in Grihastha ashram. It's okay if your spouse is not supporting or not. Every soul has its own journey. And Krishna is in the heart of everyone. As Paramatma, slowly they'll get the benefit. Now slowly you are chanting for them, and Krishna knows what you need to grow in bhakti. So Krishna will mold your life in such a way. It takes some time, don't worry. So many of you have problems of onion, garlic and tea, coffee, and leaving non-veg and all, but that's okay. Everything will happen, as time goes, but you should be sincere and you should have that strong desire. When will that day come when I can take Krishna Prasad? When will that day come when I get rid of this tea, coffee? Should have that sincere desire, then Krishna will definitely help. Krishna sees. It's said that Krishna tests you. Krishna sees how sincere you are. Are you doing just a show, or are you doing really sincerely? Sincerely you're desiring, Krishna will make it happen. You don't know how, but he has a plan. Okay, and then 26 qualities, very nicely mentioned. So 26 qualities, actually, the divine qualities, actually, that is seen in a Vaishnava or a pure devotee also. Now, all these 26 qualities, we can elaborate. When I take this class in level 1, I give the 26 qualities example as Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada fulfills all these 26 qualities, right? So I could not give any other example. So there's so many pastimes in Prabhupada's life, which proves he have all these 26 qualities of Vaishnava. Any other questions to be discussed in this chapter? Yes, Murli Prabhu.
No, just to spotlight, Gita Mataji and Kaushikan Ganeshan Prabhuji did it exactly in 4 minutes. Brilliant. Oh. Pinaja Mataji 6 minutes and Netravati Mataji 7. These are today's top ones.
Good. Okay, so nice. I mean, yeah, and the presentation was nice, no?
Pradosh Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. I just wanted him to share the 16 rounders and the 100% and things like that. Yes. We have some time, that's why.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. We'll share maybe in few minutes.
Yes. Take your time. Okay, so all of you. Oh.